Corner of First and St. Mark's. Two restaurants today, block apart. First one's Noreetuh behind me. Front of the house guy and the wine guy worked at Per Se. The chef, Chinese-American from Hawaii, worked at Per Se. They met there. They've worked at John George, all over, really good resumes. They got together 10 years later and said, let's do a restaurant. We've always wanted to do this. So super great wine program, ridiculously cool wine list. And the food's like Hawaiian-inspired, Asian, Japan, Korean fusion through like an American chef's lens. It's got really good chops with great American ingredients. Around the corner, Timna, Israeli kid. Grandfather was a baker. Worked in some really hot Israeli restaurants in Jerusalem. Comes to the States, opens up his own place here, and he does his own breads here. Really like that sort of pan-Mediterranean, Israeli modern cooking today that I love. Timna is the name of the place. Both these places, if I lived around the corner, I'd eat here all the time. That's the show. I'm Mike Colameco, industry insider. Been in the business my whole life, and I know what it takes to succeed. Each week we'll take you into real kitchens, filmed in real time. Backstage passes to a day in the life of chefs, restaurateurs, and their teams. The competition's fierce. Careers, life savings, and reputations hang in the balance. These are my people, and this is their passion. And that's what's next on Mike Colameco's Real Food. Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
Spicy.
So you guys, backstory, you guys met at Per Se?
I started Per Se back in 2008, and Chung was sous chef back then, and I met him at the Pass. And although he's a sous chef, the title is very intimidating as a kitchen server, but you know, we started to chat. First couple of the words that we exchanged were, what do you want to do? I said, I want my own restaurant. And Chung said, all right, let's talk.
You're John George, you're Per Se. I mean, these are like some of the best, most soigné kitchens in the country. And then you're kind of doing something completely different than that. So when did you decide to sort of, instead of just doing a restaurant, to do this restaurant?
We started to think about where we come from, who we are, and as identity, what do we represent? So we're saying, okay, Hawaii represents multicultural aspects. That's a great concept, you know, so we could take from that and use all the flavors and the culture that comes with being from Hawaii and make a restaurant and build around that. Musubi is, for lack of a better word, a block of rice that's wrapped with seaweed. And we'll do the pork jiao musubi today. So we'll start off with a piece of seaweed, nori. So this is steamed rice, seasoned with the fat of the pork that's been rendered out. And we just season with a little salt and the fat into it. So we have a mold, so the rice fits in perfectly. So we have a block of rice. So this is a little scallion and ginger puree. This flavor profile is very Chinese in origin. And then we'll take the pork jiao, torch it.
That's been braised?
It's been braised for 12 hours. It's been brined for 2 days before that. We'll season it with a little bit of, we call it kombu soy, which is soy sauce steeped with more kombu. So it kind of enhance extra umami in there. Yeah. So kind of baste it a little. And then this goes right in the middle. Musubu means to wrap in Japanese, to wrap around. So basically, traditionally it's a piece of spam. We do pork jiao, we have a beef tongue, we'll do some tuna sometimes, we'll do various flavors based on inspiration and what's available. It's cut and is served with a little bit of salt on top. And this is Hawaiian red salt, and it goes on the plate.
That's how it comes to the table.
I'm Korean American. I grew up in the Bronx. I went to school in Chicago. Before Per Se, I was captain at John George. But I would say probably the biggest influence came from my days in Chicago at Trio Restaurant when Chef Grant Atkins was still a chef there. I enjoy mostly old world wines, and I enjoy wines with age. This comes from Mosul Salvador, 2003, Zilliken. They generally make wine in a very traditional style. For me, it all comes down to balance. And if the wine has harmony, which means that there's a good balance of sweetness coupled with acidity, you have harmony.
So look at this color, huh?
Yeah,
Already.
it's gained the color just a little bit.
Yeah.
Becoming slightly bit more golden.
Yep, it's got golden
Yeah.
hues to it for sure. And there's that nose.
I mean, this excites me. This really excites me.
It's bad news is I just took a sip and I'm salivating. So I think I'm pretty predictable. That's a bad sign.
And there's that sweetness there, but the acid is still vibrant. So it doesn't really come off all as sweet.
Balance.
Yeah.
So what we have is the silken tofu. We have Japan Hokkaido uni, salmon roe, and some mushroom marmalade there. And he's putting on some ume, which is a preserved plum made into a paste so we can make little dots on top. And he's gonna finish with some shiso. I'm from Hawaii.
Big island?
No, Oahu.
Oahu.
My sister went to cooking school back in Hawaii, and I lived in Japan. I was thinking maybe I can do the same thing and maybe we'll do something together one day, right? So after I got back from Japan, I went to culinary school, and that's where it started.
I raised my kids in a beach town, Cape May, New Jersey, and all the kids skateboard and surf. That was like, that's what you do.
Sure.
How'd you grow up in Hawaii and not surfing?
Well, surfing wasn't really a thing in our family, you know. We grew up in a big family. I'm one of 6 kids. My parents owned a noodle factory back then. You know, so I started helping them out when I was 10, 12 years old. So we didn't have that much free time to kind of do extracurricular stuff, surfing or whatnot, because we're always helping with the family.
Kid slave in the family.
Well, you know, that's one way to put it.
Right, and so your parents, so they were making noodles for like
Lomen and, you know, egg noodles, flat, you know, udon style noodles.
wholesale and retail.
Yep.
That's a tough business.
Yeah, so, you know, so that's where where I grew up doing.
It should be noted that after his stint at Per Se, Chef worked with Jonathan Benno at Lincoln, where he really firmed up his pasta chops.
And the next dish is a pasta dish?
So the next dish is going to be mentaiko spaghetti. So we start with a little bit of dashi.
Dashi?
Dashi. Little olive oil. Pinch of chili.
That's 3 things you don't often hear in combination. Dashi, olive oil, pinch of chili. Okay.
Only in a Hawaiian restaurant.
I was about to say, we know where we are now. What kind of pasta are you dropping? Fresh
So
or dry?
we have dried spaghetti. So spaghetti goes in. So we use dashi because it brings out the umami. It's basically a broth or a stock made from fish flakes. We do dashi for flavor. So whenever we can, always incorporate flavor in your dishes. Dashi, chicken stock, whatnot. So that's our version. And then we'll add smoked cod. So we're adding the mentaiko.
Which is?
Salted, cured fish roe. It's usually polak or cod or something like that. So we just keep tossing until we develop nice creamy texture. And the smokiness of the fish is going to permeate throughout the dish as it cooks. And we're going to finish off with a little bit of lemon juice for acidity. Okay, and we are going to plate. So a little bit of toasted breadcrumbs.
For just the way Italians finish pasta with.
Correct, a little texture. Just breadcrumbs with some chili and olive oil. And this is ao nori, which is nori flakes for a little bit of toastiness in the dish. And some scallions. It's very traditional in the Japanese mentaiko spaghetti.
You have some butter in here, and the rest was just
Olive oil and dashi.
smoky, creamy, umami, a little bit of lemon juice, just a little bit to polish it up and brighten it. So good, man.
So it is a kalua pork cavatelli. So kalua pork is a slow roasted pork. A little bit of smoke put in there. Once it comes out, we'll shred it slightly, and then we'll pick up the pasta. Pork goes in, then toss. Some chicken stock, a lot of parm, cheese, and that's it.
Chateau de Jacques, owned by Louis Jadot.
Moulin Vin.
Moulin Vin, one
And
of
they
the
actually
Cru
have
Beaujolais.
that thing up top
Yeah,
of one of those
and it's till
crus.
2011. Well, I'm a huge fan of Burgundy. Huge fan of Burgundy. If there's one wine that I'll drink, I'll drink Burgundy.
So this is interesting. So we got a Burgundian producer, and Burgundy's just north of Beaujolais. And they can go two ways with the fermentation on this. They can do whole cluster carbonic, or they can do a more kind of traditional style, which is Burgundian style crush. That's how this is done.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Carbonic maceration, you get the super expression of the fruit. Where leaded grape go whole cluster, fermentation's taking place inside the skins. I mean, it's a giveaway. If you're a Beaujolais drinker, you put carbonic up to your nose, Gamay, bang, you know exactly what it is. This doesn't have that.
Not at all.
So now we're doing it in a Burgundian style, and I am with you. This is just an absolute baller, stellar Burgundian style Gamay.
Absolutely.
That on a blind, I'm north, I'm in Burgundy, and I'm thinking this is Pinot Noir, and I'm drinking Gamay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you're happy.
And I'm really happy.
You're happy.
So this is the Imperial Wagyu steak, Chinese broccoli, and just some egg fried rice.
Classic. Like a play on.
Right, baked broccoli.
Right. Broccoli is blanched and grilled or just grilled?
Blanched and grilled.
Yeah.
And then we just got a Thai basil pesto. So a pesto made from Thai basil. It's right on top. And
Nice.
there you go.
Nice.
Back in the old days, you know, when the Hawaiians ate fish and did very little cooking, they fished from the ocean and cut things up and just season with salt and seaweed, very plain and easy. We'll do our version of poke, which means cubed or diced up. So we'll start off with tuna. We'll cube that up. Seaweed, we use a mixture of tosaka, ogo, and we have a white fungus silver ear mushroom. Pickled jalapenos, soil, and vinegar. Just some diced red onions, soaked in a little bit of ice water for a little bit so it doesn't...
It takes a little of that heat and aggressiveness
Not
off.
that spicy.
Yeah.
And some toasted macadamia nuts. These are actually from the Big Island of Hawaii. And then this is our mixture here. This is our poke sauce. Shake it up. So this is a combination of sesame oil, soy sauce, a little bit of chili paste. Just mix it well. For a little bit of color, we put a little saltwort, which is it's kind of like a succulent.
What's it called?
Saltwort. It's for a little color and a little
Flavor burst.
little burst, little crunch. And there you go.
Thank you, chef. It's got that richness and the umami. You've got sesame oil and that soy sauce you
So
jacked up.
we add all that seaweed for extra crunch, as macadamia nuts, and the onions will give it a little, punch there.
That's great, man.
One thing that I really don't like about new restaurant is their inability to carry or have older wines. So I've been looking at the auctions for a good 2 years, collect some wines, back vintage wines, and one of them happened to be Chateau Moussard. And I just fell in love with it. Chateau Moussard, 1998, for me, has been consistent.
Grape varietal.
Grape varietal, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cinsault, Carignan.
Talk about the farming practices, Chateau Moussard.
All organic.
For a long time.
Yeah, for a very long time.
Yeah. From a place people don't really think of,
Lebanon.
and yet, historically, winemaking, this could have been where it started.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we call this the ancient world. The curse about Chateau Moussard and the beauty about Chateau Moussard is that every bottle is different. But because every wine and every bottle is different, there's beauty in that.
Oh, this is so good, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Chef, want to describe the hearts of palm dish for us?
So we have hearts of palm with a smoked tofu puree, some crispy shallots, and some cilantro, and there's some beets on the bottom there.
Did you eat hearts of palm growing up?
I did not actually. Again, from the traditional Chinese household,
Right.
we didn't know what that was. This is just a brulee pineapple, shipped from Hawaii. This is 1/4 of it. We will cut it into bite-sized pieces so that it's easier to eat on the dining table. This is a low-acid pineapple. When you eat this pineapple, you don't have that really tart taste in your mouth. So it's usually like sweet, more forward than your normal pineapple. And we don't have to really let it sit for a week like the ones you get from the supermarket where it's like all green and hard. So we're gonna brulee this. So a good amount of sugar. Without the sugar, it's just gonna burn.
Yeah.
Just like a regular brulee.
Like a regular creme brulee, like
Exactly. You need to really pile it on. You want to make sure you have a good layer so that you're actually bruleeing the sugar and not the pineapple.
anything. You're keeping that distance perfect so you're not too close that you're burning.
Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes not so lucky. So once you have a nice crust on it, you're basically good to go. So we'll finish it off with a little bit of lime zest. Lime and pineapples go well together, obviously. And just a little squeeze of juice right on
Yeah, a
top.
little acid for it to play with.
Yep. Otherwise, it's sweet, but you want a different type of acidity. And there you go.
Restaurants, especially new restaurants, especially the one that's opened by the first-time restaurateur, you always need that time to adjust. A lot of the thinking went into opening and the food that we put out, the wine lists that we put out. But if I look back, I feel a lot more comfortable. That doesn't mean that I feel comfortable and complacent. I feel comfortable of us being who we are, and I really like what we do.
The stew, it's working for the fish, right? Sounds
So give me the background. I always like people's backstories. Israeli born and raised?
Israeli born and raised, born in a Moroccan Egyptian family, Jewish. My grandparents from the Moroccan side, they used to be pastry chef in Morocco,
What part of Morocco?
Casablanca.
Oh, in a big city, Casa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my grandparents from my father's side, they from Egypt, from Cairo. And so all the Sephardic food style was in our family since I'm born. Basically, in every Sephardic family in Israel, they used to bake this kubana bread overnight, and you used to eat it for Shabbat lunch. It looked like a big pie, so when all the family sit on the table for Shabbat lunch, the bread is in the middle, and everyone eat with a hand, and a lot of salads, and baba ganoush, and all this stuff. So I took this kind of bread, and I give it my own restaurant recipe, that it needs to bake like 40 minutes. It's like personal bread, and get a lot of flavor from the terracotta, the clay pot that they're cooking in. And this bread, it's like take me back home every day, every time that I'm making that.
And you're serving it with a little tomato?
A little bit crushed tomato, that I season it with cilantro seeds, sugar and salt. Next to it I have creme fraiche and jalapeno salsa. And it's balanced perfect with the bread. The bread, from the outside it's crispy like croissant, inside it's texture like challah bread, and it's very buttery like brioche and eggy.
That's how it comes to the table, then as it cools off, you just, with your hands, break a piece off.
Always with the
dip,
hands.
and eat. Oh man, that jalapeno is ridiculous.
Jalapeno salsa, it's my Egyptian grandfather recipe. It's basically, my grandfather used to chop it by hand. A lot of jalapeno, garlic, cilantro, cardamom and cumin, a little bit vinegar.
Did he measure everything?
My grandfather? All the time. You used to go to his house and you smell the peppers in the kitchen.
Really clean, really fresh tastes.
Very fresh. You have the acidity from the tomatoes that balance the butterness with the bread. You have the spiciness from the jalapeno salsa and the creme fraiche that balance everything together.
This is addictive, man. Get this out of here. I'll eat the whole thing. This is great. I've never been to Israel, but I've been to the Mediterranean a lot. I'm Italian. So it's a lot of vegetables, a lot of seafood.
A lot of olive oil, a lot of
olive
yogurts,
oil.
goat milk, goat cheese. Very light, a lot of herbs, a lot of fresh apples, a lot of grains. Chickpeas, lentils,
Yeah, whole
frike,
grains.
super healthy. This kind of cuisine is more light, a lot of different textures, a lot of unique flavors like baharat, like ras el hanout, that it's mixed spice. A lot of smokiness. I really like to use a lot of smoke. I burn almost everything in my kitchen. Eggplants, tomatoes, red peppers. We burn it on open flame to get the charred and smokiness.
So, Chef, what are we making today?
Now we have the Bedouin octopus. We have here black eggplant puree, open flame eggplant. We burn it until it's super black, and then we grind it with the skin. Here we have white eggplant puree. The same idea, just peeled eggplant. We have tomato salsa. It's a grilled tomato with a lot of soy sauce, eggplants, grilled onion. This dish is super smoky. We have a chickpea puree.
That's chickpea puree.
Yeah, chickpeas, grind with a little bit salt, a little bit olive oil, kind of hummus. Raw tahini from Nablus. On top of it, we have grilled pickled cabbage. We pickled the red cabbage for 48 hours, and then we grill it on the charcoal. So you have the sourness with a little bit smoky from the grill.
Where are the octopus coming from, Chef?
The octopus from Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah. I love this product a lot. Finish it with extra virgin olive oil.
It's gorgeous, man.
And fresh oregano.
Beautiful.
Thank you. This is our root vegetable salad. Fresh fennel, fresh carrots, celery, red onion, roasted walnuts, pomegranate, everything seasoned with chipotle dressing. And we have scallion in tempura. What we got there, guys? Fire? For me, to cook my family food, I'm very proud of it. I knew when I was 10 years old that I'm gonna be a chef, that I'm gonna cook.
At 10?
10 years old. I used to take care about my little sister. When she back from school, I used to make her lunch. So food was always in my area, all the time. This is our cauliflower dish. We have here curry yogurt, fresh cauliflower that we deep fried it with a little bit of artichokes, pickled onion, dried grapes. It's basically red grape, seedless, that we dried for 24 hours. Puffed quinoa. It's Indian style.
All right, this is the striped bass.
This is the striped bass.
Great East Coast fish, I love it. Well, Northeast fish.
Yeah. Okay, what we have here, it's seared striped bass on the plancha, and then we smoke it a little bit on the charcoal.
So it's sauteed on the plancha skin side.
Skin
90% done, flip it over flesh side over wood. Get a little bit of smokiness.
Garlic confit that we grind it with black garlic, the fermented one. It's remind a little bit tamarindi. Small fish. What we got here, it's turmeric, butter turmeric. It's basically butter and turmeric, a little bit lemon preserve. Sancho confit, artichokes confit, Kalamata olives, everything cooked in butter, in turmeric butter.
Turmeric.
We have here the spaghetti zucchini. We roll it like spaghetti style.
How did you cook it? Just on the salamander?
Salamander.
Period.
Yeah.
Some olive oil and the heat from the
Olive
top.
oil, salt, pepper. We have a little bit puffed quinoa. Basically, the red quinoa, we cook it, we dry it, and then we fried it. So it's more like for a texture.
Yeah, I've seen that done before. It's really cool.
It's cool, yeah. You can
Purely
do it.
crunchy.
You can do it with lentils, with farro, with chickpeas. Basically, every grain.
Every grain, yep.
Now it's very popular in Israel. Every chef
Cooks it, dries it, and fries it.
they learn the trick a little bit.
Micros.
Micros. For this dish, actually, I really like to use fresh oregano. By the way, you can serve it like that, the same way without the fish, and it's still amazing.
Vegetarian delight.
Yeah. Fish on top.
Wow, both fillets, huh? That's a big portion.
Yeah.
Oof.
My mom always think, oh, you put from your heart, or don't put nothing.
No, that's 8 ounces of fish.
Yeah.
Extra virgin olive oil.
At the end, I have here burnt lime powder.
What kind of powder?
Lime.
Lime. Burnt lime.
Burnt lime. Kaboom. Before we opened Timna, it used to be hummus place. He's also my partner today. And this is also one of the reasons my offer when I came here to the hummus place. I told him, look, hummus, it's cool, it's nice, but people
More. We need more.
looking for something
Right.
more creativity. And the real Israeli food, it's what we're doing now in New York. It's the melting pot. This one is our burratush. It's burrata from Vermont. The American mozzarella. We serve it over grilled bread, smoked white eggplant, a little bit anchovies, garlic confit, capers, basil oil, and we serve it with tomato gazpacho. On the table,
They pour the gazpacho.
yeah, we
Beautiful
put the
dish.
gazpacho. Thank you. In Aramaic, it's called shatnez. It's to mix something with something different. It's the Poland, German ingredient that I mix it with the Moroccan, Egyptian ingredients together on the same plate, and also to use a little bit Asian products. And all this melting pot, this is the Israeli food. It's not hummus, it's not shawarma, it's not falafel. All this kind of food, it's our neighbors.
What is this?
This one, it's quinoa tabbouleh salad.
Quinoa tabbouleh.
Yeah, it's basically red quinoa mixing with a lot of herbs, parsley, basil, scallion, red cabbage, ginger. This dish, it's called Mediterranean sashimi. It's basically combined together the Japanese cuisine with a lot of Israeli ingredients, like tabbouleh, a lot of herbs that we really like, and there is a lot of Asian flavors inside. We have here fresh tuna. We season it also.
Olive oil.
Olive oil.
And what do you have there, chef?
I have here Israeli cucumbers.
Cucumber.
Persian cucumbers. I don't like cucumbers very watery. I like them, the dry one.
Right.
So.
And what's this guy? What's this?
This one is garlic confit. We have jalapeno,
Okay.
fresh jalapeno for the spiciness. Baby radishes.
Gotcha.
And this dish, it's here since I opened Timna.
It's a hit. You can't take it off the menu.
I can't. I will not. It's super cool and very, very light, very fresh. It's to keep it healthy, keep it light. Not. We don't like to use too much butter and
Yeah, I
heavy
don't see
cream.
butter. I don't see heavy cream. I don't see eggs.
No. We have the beet leather on top. I have here ponzo sauce. Ponzo basically it's like the Japanese classic ponzo.
Yep.
But here I mix it with a little bit agar-agar, kind of gelatin.
To set it up.
Exactly. It's based on orange juice, very citrusy. We have the shiso leaves,
Microgreen.
microgreens, shiso, the sunflower cress.
Yeah, those things really taste like sunflowers, which is crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
Pea shoot.
Pea shoot. Tzatziki, goat yogurt, cucumbers, mint, garlic. I grind everything. You get like very greenish, smooth sauce. Sumac in the middle. It's Mediterranean herb. A little bit olive oil. We don't forget nothing. This one out. And this is my Mediterranean sashimi. Very colorful. All my food, if it's not look with colors and everything, for me it's very boring.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's crazy, right? A block apart in the East Village, two restaurants, one Middle Eastern, the other Hawaiian/Pan Asian/Italian. And both are standouts. You gotta love the diversity of the New York restaurant scene. I know I sure do. Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colameco, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.